What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Meet the Critters. It is episode 19, and we got a group for you tonight. It's going to be interesting. Tonight, we are just going to talk about farm fails, all those moments where you're in the middle of something, and you just go, why the hell do I even do this? So we've all had them. So we're going to go ahead and bring everybody up. We have Carlisle returning, this time remote. We got Brian from the Lots Project and Joe Blakesley from Blakesley Acres on YouTube. What's going on, boys?
Not a whole lot.
No?
Just got inside.
I had to come here to hang out with you. I don't know what's going on.
You guys are all so supportive. Yeah, actually, Joe, I do appreciate you coming on for processing. How many birds did you say today?
It was like 120 or 130 chickens and 6 turkeys.
Yeah, it's always fun. And then I'm trying to get Carlisle into the podcast mix. So I figured we'd have him on and have a fun intro to this, doing the online stuff. And I've been there for at least one of Carlisle's farm fails that was pretty fun and ended up in a mountain hike. But
exercise.
But no, like I said, I figured this would be a fun kind of conversation because as soon as one of us has a story about it, I guarantee you at least one or two of us has that same thing that has happened of just like, God, this sucks. And what I've noticed this podcast has turned into is like a farming or butchering therapy session where it's me and the guests usually just come on and just go, that really does suck. Like, what the hell? So I figure let's just have fun with it.
We're not going to start paying you for therapy, so don't get any ideas.
No, hell no.
Listen, I'm trying to like diversify on what I'm doing. So, but yeah, so just thinking about it, like, so Carlisle, when did you finish putting in all the woven wire on like your section?
I don't know. I think I finally got all the way around the property probably last spring. I think we decided, but yeah, I know the time that you were just talking about, like, the baby piglets, just they really respect the fence until they really don't. At the time we had 40 piglets, 50 piglets running around, and they were in two separate little groups. You had one little group over here, one little group over here, and the piglets kind of just went underneath the electric fence, no problem. And we didn't have the woven wire to back it all the way around at the time. So the piglets kind of go into the driveway and they would just shoo back in. And as they got older and older, they just get more and more adventurous, of course. And they finally got pushed all the way around the last little side of the fence that there was no more woven wire. And yeah, they bumped out into the woods. And here in New Hampshire, we got pretty thick woods, as you know.
Yeah, but also you live on a mountain.
Yeah.
Like,
so when they run downhill, it sucks.
Yeah, we had to climb we basically hiked your 14 acres that day looking for the piglets.
Well, and of course, we tried not to bump them because pigs, they weren't hungry and they weren't coming to us. So it wasn't like feeding them and they come right to you. Like everything they did just bumped them further away. So you had to get out in front of them to push them back to where you wanted to go. So yeah, we kind of on the other side of the fence went all the way down, which, I'm not saying my property's huge, but it was big enough that when you're trying to hustle around it, you're like, what the hell? And you come back up. And then, of course, like we completely missed the piglets. Like somehow we walked past them and I don't even came back around. Then
this whole situation contributes to my fencing anxiety of why I like Fort Knox my fences. I never want to relive that again. Like,
and up until that moment, we had never had a bird gun.
Huh?
You put your fence in upside down.
I did do that.
Fort Knox, that piglets can still get escape.
Yeah, no, I'm already like replanning how to build that. Like,
I'm so obsessive, and I gotta make sure they don't get out. Like you have videos all over the place of your pigs running everywhere out in the street and shit. Like, everywhere. Oh yeah, pretty obsessive
everywhere.
Yeah, you guys have way better fences than I have.
Your videos again, they give me anxiety. Like I watch them, and I'm just like, there's nothing to keep that thing out.
Beef cows just started getting out of that poly wire because they're on the solar charger, and that red and white steer. For some reason, if I don't move him within 2 days, he'll try clearing the fence and he takes it down, and He's going to be one that I look forward to running through the butcher shop when it's done.
Right? Yeah, I have my cows on 4 strands of like 14 gauge electric, and I'm like, all right, but now I'm already planning on putting woven wire, like tearing all of that out and doing woven wire and just extending the pig pasture, just because I'm like, I don't want to have to worry about it at all. Because
most of my pig pastures is the 2 strands of
I know
wire. That's it.
What mile charger are you running?
Down what they're on now, it's just a small solar charger, but mine is what is that? A 50 mile or something like that. It's a 5 joule Cyclops. That one the cows don't go through.
No.
Unless the fence is done.
I had a bear issue with black bears getting in my chicken coop, and so the door was like 12 feet wide, and so I took and ran wire back and forth, and it must have been like, I think it was 4 hots and two neutrals, and I put a 50-mile charger on it, plugged it in, and I had the camera on the fence, and the bear came, but the camera didn't trigger. And I wanted to get that dark picture of that thing zapping that son of a bitch in the nose, but couldn't make it happen. Never got the video. It was the camera was too slow.
Yeah. No, mine was freaking, what's mine? Like 120 miles. Like I went big. I was like, I don't care. Let's just pump all of it in there. And
I was a good size one. I can't remember. I didn't get the biggest one that Cyclops makes because I didn't need it. But I think next couple of years, when I start putting a couple extra strands around for the goats and sheep, I'm going to up that to the 12 joule. And I know that one hurts. My boss has that one. And his whole fence system was grounded out, and I was chasing shorts and stuff. And I kept hearing something tick. And I walked out there, and the guy that works with us, I told him, I said, when I find it, I'll have you unplug the charger. As soon as I said that, I feel a shot come from my feet all the way up through me. And I was like, whoa. He goes, what? I said, fucking fence is under my feet. And as soon as I said that, I got hit again. And I said, you need to unplug that thing because it was going through my rubber boots and everything. And that fence system, it was ground out on the neighbor's barbed wire fence. The cows had some wrapped around there. And that's miles of barbed wire, 5-strand barbed wire. And the neighbor was getting shocked at his sugar shack. He had to call my boss, say, hey, can you unplug your fence charger? I'm getting shocked up here. That's how much power that thing has.
Jesus.
So that's the next fence charger I get.
Yeah. When I was buttoning up the new pasture out back, I had bought like the newer fence tester that like is digital and everything and reads it all. And I got all the way out there and I was like, well, this isn't working. And I still haven't figured out why it's not working, but it would work like at this goddamn dog. It would work at the charger. And then as soon as I would get out there, it was like nothing. And I was tired of walking back and I wasn't going to go grab the shitty one because it was noon and I wouldn't be able to see the little light bulbs in it. Like we all had that starter one. And I was like, well, I'm not walking all the way back. And I just like very slowly like brought my finger to it and zapped the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, it's hot. So that works. Don't shake your head at me. It's easier. I'll rather get zapped than walk back to the barn.
True story.
I like going into the barn and straddling over the hot wire with it rubbing on your sack with rubber boots on, and you're like, all of a sudden you're like, have that oh shit moment, like, oh my god, I'm like, my sack is resting on that wire, and then like you look down and you have rubber boots on, and you're like, oh my god, thank God.
Right.
They don't always save you though.
They sure don't.
Well, on the smaller chargers, but like out on the portable Premier One fence and stuff like that. I mean, if you had no shoes on, you get pretty good smack right in the nuts when you got shorts on. But if you have rubber boots, you're usually pretty good.
Yeah, I'm running like cowboy boots, so it just goes right through those. I just get hit.
You probably wear cowboy boots with shorts, don't you?
I have. I'm not going to say I haven't. I'm not going to lie to you boys.
His shorts are so short that his pockets hang out the bottom. That's what he usually wears.
That used to be my like, I don't know why, and I'm slightly ashamed of it. Slightly. It's pretty funny. My like, because I used to be a partier and a drinker, and that was like, you know, your friend or you have that repetitive thing that happens every time you're drunk, that you wake up and you're like, what the fuck? Why? Mine was Daisy Dukes. At some point, I would just get hammered and I'd wake up, like I would just cut my pants into Daisy Dukes. I did it probably 6-7 times. Like to the point that at my buddy's bachelor party, and this is being married, my wife was pregnant. I showed up to his bachelor party, which was a whitewater rafting trip up in like the Canadian border. And I walked out of the truck in Daisy Dukes and whitewater rafted in them. And I was like, I am so glad like this is behind me in life because this is ridiculous. It was hysterical, but
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh?
mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about being married with kids and all that shit.
Oh, shit. But yes, I will be fixing that fence that's completely upside down. I still get pissed off every time I look at it.
Fuck it, leave it alone, dude. It's fine. It's already there.
Yeah. Now they're big enough that they hit the electric line, so they don't test it anymore.
Yeah, they should be challenging the fence anyway.
I thought the red wire was some sort of special wire that was supposed to go at the bottom.
Yes, I know. I'm retarded. I know. I'm aware. Yeah.
Oh man.
I was so proud of myself for like a day until this was that pig pen was the first like project I really did like by myself planning. Like my buddy had helped me with the winter paddock that we built. He had helped me run the woven wire, and it was the sheep wire, so I really didn't have to worry about much anyway. And this was the first project that I had like planned, executed, and like did it all. And I was so pumped with myself for like a day. And then he came over the next day, and I was like, looks pretty nice, right? Look at this shit. And he's like, yeah, it looks good. Except that whole line and that whole line of fencing is completely upside down, and your piglet's going to be all over your property. And my heart just sunk. I was like, God damn it. It's been TikTok gold, though. So.
Great.
Fuck.
That's great.
Oh.
I don't know if I've done something like that. I put a whole garden in the wrong spot just because I thought it would look cool.
Yeah.
Like no shit. Like I had this huge spot, like where my comfrey ended up being actually was huge and flat, and it was like the perfect spot for a huge garden. And I decided to put mine into like a fucking 20% grade and terrace 4x8 raised beds into the hill, going up the hill, and have paths in between. And yeah, that was the most idiotic fucking thing I've ever done in my life. And to make it even better, it was a north-facing slope. So, I mean, I couldn't have fucking picked a worse spot. And to make it even worse, when I was putting them in, I got to like, I put a shitload in. Like I had 14 4x8 raised beds, and then a bunch of other like just in-ground beds. And I was digging out this in-ground bed that was going to be all these squash plants. And it like, I'm digging out the sod and all this shit. And I'm pulling fucking slabs of concrete out of the soil. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I got like a big breaker bar, and I'm like pulling these huge wads of concrete out. And the neighbor comes over who was born in that house and like grew up there, and his dad like built the house and all this shit. He's like, oh yeah, there used to be a fucking machine shop here, burned down in the 60s. That's the foundation. Oh, he found the foundation. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck, dude? You didn't like, what the fuck? And so, I mean, that wasn't the only time I was putting my fence in. I put a fence in by hand, fucking hand augured 119 fucking post holes with a handheld fucking dirt auger.
No, wait, how'd that go again?
What's that?
How'd that go again? Yeah, okay. I was just making sure.
And so rocks, like you wouldn't believe the fucking rock pile I had. just for putting this fence in. Strung all the fence by myself, all this shit, and I was getting down. I was on the last section of the fence between the barn and the garage. It's only like 60 feet long. So I'm drilling these holes with this auger, and I would get. So you ever use like an earth auger?
Oh,
Like,
I've got a story about one of those after this. Like,
yeah. So I'm using that thing, and you know how you put it in, and it'll spin, and then it'll catch the sod, and it'll rip the sod up it real easy, and then it'll kind of hit the dirt, and slows down just a little bit. Well, I'd get through that sod, I'd rip the sod up, and then all of a sudden it'd go thump. I'm like, what the fuck? So I pull it up, and I get my fucking spade, and I'm taking the fucking rocks out of the hole, and I take rocks out. The next time I put that fucking auger in was like 14 or 19 inches in the fucking ground.
Yep.
And then it went whoop, whoop, and then it hit again. And I took another 10 inches of fucking rocks out. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I did it, like, get that one done, get down to 36 inches, 40 inches. I think I was going on those ones. 40 inches, 40 inches, 40 inches. I get to the next hole, and it fucking does it again. And then again, same thing. And he comes over and he's like, why the hell you put a fence right on the old line where the well house foundation is? I fucking randomly ran that fucking fence straight down the foundation. Every hole I hit was on the stack slab rock 1923 foundation. Took them out by hand, man.
Must have been a nice line. It's worth following twice.
Oh,
What the fuck?
holy
Yeah.
shit.
I would have gave up after the first hole. I said, "Fuck this! I'm either
Fuck
getting a post pounder or
Well, I'm
trying
like,
to find somebody."
how many can I actually hit in a row? Like at some point, once you get the rocks out, you're like, okay, well, I mean,
Now
I
we're
started
good.
the hole. I started the hole. I can move the fence. I'll move the next one, you know. But then you're sitting there going, motherfucker, how many of these could I actually hit? It was 4 in a row, and they were 8 foot on, straight in a row. It was the well house, and then a foundation for the original house that was there, and then another barn that used to be there. It was like right down the edge of the foundation, and I was just like,
You should have
I
called the
finished that
neighbor and just
fence.
had him get a spray paint can and mark everything that he remembers that was on there.
I finished that fence. So we bought the farm and we didn't have a fence anywhere, and we had 2 German Shepherds that grew up in the city on lead or fenced in yards, so we couldn't like just let them run or they'd have been fucking gone forever.
Yeah.
And so we took them out all the first winter with on leads. And the second winter, we were like, fuck this shit. We're not taking them out. Minnesota, -30 in fucking winter. I got to take these goddamn German Shepherds out fucking in the cold. So I was like, I'll have that fence up and I'll have it fenced in. The second winter, I finished that fence with a fucking work light and an extension, 180-foot extension cord out to the house and plugged in with the big flood work lights in a fucking snowstorm. I put the last post in, pulled the fence, and finished the gate, and got done at like 1 a.m. before winter. And the next morning, I woke up and there were like 8 inches of snow.
Oh, that's a hero story.
There was no way I would have ever been able to work on it again. I was like, I got to do this. I came home from work. I had the work light with me. I worked like 7 hours after work with the work light out in the dark. I'm like, I'm not taking those motherfuckers out on leash this close to being done.
Well, those are always like the worst projects because it's like the ones that are like, this is going to suck. I've been putting it off, and now it either broke or something broke it, or like this just needs to happen now. And I like once I started, I can't stop. Like those ones fucking suck because you're there. You have to get it done. Does not matter how complicated or annoying the task is. You're out there till 2 a.m. like with the truck lights on.
Dude, when you go down before work, and your rabbit chicken water feeder that has 46 gallons of water in it and circulating, and it froze overnight and fucking broke and blew 45 gallons of water into your chicken coop when it's negative 15 out and you're going down there at 4 a.m. before work.
Oh. Yeah.
I love farming. It was a blast.
We were talking about that today after we got done killing chickens. My boss and my brother were here, and my brother was talking about how even when I was a little kid, everybody asked me, "What do you want to do? Be a farmer?" I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got dropped on my head a few times when I was real little, because that's the only explanation for being that retarded, wanting to be a farmer."
I feel like I have that same conversation every day, though, of just like this fuck, or like explaining it to people, just explaining like a day in the life, and they're like, "Why do you do this?" Like, I don't know. It's cool. I guess.
I had a fucking hatchery in my living room.
That's
like,
commit.
I guess it was we had 2 living rooms. It was, yeah, I mean, but it was open in the house. So the whole room had, at one point it was 2 2x4 like metal shelving, like garage shelving. Yeah. 2 of those 7-foot tall hydroponic systems, and then a Sportsman incubator. And then we did all our brooding, or like our immediate brooding of our chicks in like water troughs from Tractor Supply, big fucking water troughs. So I had at one point, what did we have, like 4 of those in our living room, plus the hydroponic system and the hatchery, or in the incubator. I was running like
stink.
You just gotta keep the shit clean.
I know.
We topped or changed the pine chips in the brooders once a day until needed twice a day, and then by the time the birds went out to bigger cages, it had just gotten up enough they couldn't jump out, and then we just took them outside, cleaned them out, dumped them out, cleaned them out, and brought them back in. Fresh pine chips. As soon as there was any manure, it was like in the morning, it all just got covered with fresh pine chips. The birds would run around and we just cover it up behind them. They'd run back on top. Never smelled, never got really bad.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, we also didn't have walls in our house, so there was that.
That's helpful.
We had stripped down to we stripped down the paneling and the plaster. 1923 house, I think. And I was going to redo the wiring, and then we were just going to insulate. There was no insulation in the house whatsoever when we bought it. Nothing. No like horsehair, no newspaper, like nothing. In Minnesota. In Minnesota. And so I was excited to at least just get insulation in the walls. I didn't need to get sheetrock up. But like insulation was an improvement.
Right.
And so I rewired 2 of the rooms, but when I was rewiring it, the original wiring would go down into the basement and then daisy chain to different rooms. So like the lights in the living room and the outlet in the bedroom and a light in the bedroom and an outlet in the kitchen were all on the same circuit. So in order for me to either have power in all the rooms, I either had to redo all the rooms and completely rewire it at the same time, or I had to drop down, like cut the one room out and splice it together, and then as I got each room, like work my way back. Well, you can't get it inspected when you have to do that. And if I was going to sell it, I was going to have it inspected, so I had to open it back up. So I wasn't going to close it up. I was going to sheetrock the whole thing, then have to take all the sheetrock off, get it inspected, put sheetrock back up. And yeah, so we just left our fucking walls open until we sold it. 5 years or something like that. We lived with just insulation in our walls. Like just in 2 rooms, though. Just 2 rooms. The living room and the living room.
Yeah, I feel like the only other time you see that is like meth heads. They've already stripped all the copper out of the walls, and now there's like
there was no copper in ours.
Yeah,
it was all brand new wiring, dude. It was beautiful. Like I, when you do shit like that, and we thought we were gonna be there for a while till we had a meltdown when it was gonna get cold again. But I did it right. Like I did can lights. I did can lights all the way around the outside. I did them on separate circuits so that you could turn off the 4 corners or turn off the 4 interiors. There was like all the fading in and out ceiling fans, all the circuits. There was overkill outlets in every room. There were outlets up high to put TVs up high. There was all like pre-wired to do all sorts of shit. I did it right, and I went heavier on every gauge wire that I put in it. But I couldn't close it up because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Because the state had to tell me that I knew how to fucking wire something. I wire gas stations that could blow up if I do it wrong. But I can't wire my living room.
Sounds
Yay,
about right.
government.
I'm certified. I'm certified to work on electrical and gas stations that could blow up if I do it wrong. But gotta have them check out my house wiring.
That's pretty wild.
Brian, did you ever have any like large animals over the winter? You just had birds, right? Birds and rabbits.
I never had larger than rabbits or turkey. I had turkeys. That was the largest thing we ever really did.
Right. Yeah, because like the three of us, like bringing like cows and pigs through winter, just it sucks so bad. Everything about winter is just every day. You're like, God damn it.
It's just
we had 2 days below freezing last winter.
Yeah, because you were in Tennessee, or no, you were in Texas. He's frozen. But no, yeah, like because I know Carlisle, you deal with the same winter I do. Like, how aggressive is the winters? Well, you get lake effect, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
we're right on the line where we catch it off Lake Erie. We're on the bottom half of that snow belt. Where I grew up, though, we were like in the snow belt. So we got hammered along with Buffalo and Ellicottville, where the ski slopes are, and Springville and all the south towns and stuff get hammered every year. Last couple winters haven't been horrible. But I guess this winter we're supposed to get back to the usual bullshit of shit ton of snow. So
I feel like our winters up here have been aggressive the past 2 years. Just like not super cold. Like we'll still have a week or two where it's like in the negatives and stuff like that. Nothing like not crazy like Minnesota numbers, but like it's still like a high of 10 for the day, and it's going to get down to negative 15 at night. But we've just gotten like buckets of snow, like a couple, like 2 or 3 like 2-foot storms, like the past 2 years. That's been like holy shit.
Last year, we hardly got anything down here. I mean, I'm pretty sure last year's when Buffalo got hammered overnight, they got a bunch of snow. And then, McKinley's going to be 9. So it had to be 12 years ago. Buffalo got hammered, like literally got 6 foot of snow overnight. And that's back when I was driving garbage truck. That was fun because they sent me to Buffalo to pick up as far as I could get on all the roads and just clean up anything. They didn't care if it was our stops or not, just to help people out.
Yeah,
So
just get
every single day for 2 weeks, I was going up there, and they took them like 3 weeks to finally be able to start getting transport and stuff up there. People were up there with their snowmobiles, taking people food and helping shovel people out, and they were taking tractors and loaders and skid steers, whatever they could.
Yeah.
They actually, the 400 is one of the main ones that run up to Buffalo from down here. After you get up 16 and go right up into the 400, and they had to use loaders to clear off pass on the 400 to get to the city to start digging people out. So people from down here could get up there and help those people.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it could get pretty extreme here at times.
Yeah, I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. We got like 2 feet, 2.5. It was crazy. Like my wife's car, you couldn't see my wife's car. Like it was so covered. And I still went to work. Like it was in that short of a time. Like it was, we probably had an inch when I left for work in the morning, and they let me leave at 1:30 to come home because they're like, there's no point in you guys staying. It's snowing so much. And when I got home, it took me over 2 hours to get home because the roads were so bad. Usually it was an hour. And when I got home, I needed to pull in the shop because this was when the tractor was still getting like better attention, and it was inside the garage and like plugged in. So I didn't have to worry about anything before I had the shop. So I knew I had to start the tractor before I went inside and got like all my snow shit on so it could warm up because it was probably in the low 20s. And the pile from where the plow had like plowed in front of the shop was over the truck. And at this point, I hadn't gotten out and like seen like if it was fluffy or wet, but I knew if I had stopped the truck, like I wouldn't get up the driveway. And I just like winged and a prayed it and just like gunned it and just spun into it. And I got all the way up and I probably pushed 3 inches of snow, like with the door of the truck opening it up. I was like, what the actual fuck are we doing here? Like, took me like probably 4 or 5 hours to plow out both driveways. And at this point, I was using just the tractor. Like I didn't have a plow on the truck yet. So I did everything with the tractor, which at the same time was a godsend because I could pick it up and move it. Like,
Dude, that's a big ass bucket on your tractor too. So you're moving some snow, you know?
oh yeah, it's a 7-foot bucket, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, because my tractor was originally sold with a backhoe. So that's the thing that sucks. It's weighted to have a backhoe. I've got a counterweight on it, but it's like it's nothing. Like I think the last big storm we had, I came in just pissed, like kicking and screaming. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck where we are financially. I'm buying tire chains for this tractor. I don't care. I'll sell a kidney. I'm done. Like, because it's so front heavy. And as soon as you pick up a load of snow, you're gone. Like you have zero traction in the back. And it'll be better this year because I actually have like front tires with tread. They were just racing slicks. So I'd just be sitting there, tires spinning in the back, just doing this. The tires just doing this, going nowhere. Exactly. I specifically remember that storm where I came in pissed. I was cleaning up the driveway and I'm just sitting there, just spinning my tires in the middle. And I turn and my wife is holding the baby and my oldest is just standing there staring at me in the window, just like, my dad's awesome. And I just looked away. I was just like, no, this is retarded. I've been in the same spot for 20 minutes trying to move like 4 feet of snow. Like, but no, I'd love to have like, I love the tractor I have, but I would love to downsize to like another smaller one, like to do some stuff, just like the smaller, getting the smaller pens and everything. But
my brother's got a little 18 horse Kubota, and that thing, when I borrow it, you would be amazed at how those little 18 horse tractors with a loader on them and a belly mower, that thing, I do so much with it. I hooked that 4-foot brush hog to it. I brush hog a bunch of fields with it. It can get in tight places, lock the 4-wheel drive in. It's only got turf tires on it right now, so you got to watch where you're going. But if it had egg tires on there, I do tons. I can get in my stalls in my barn or pull up to them and get them cleaned out. And for being a small tractor, like that thing's so handy.
Yeah. But to everyone who's listening, you can't hang a cow from those. So don't say you have a tractor when I ask you if you have a tractor, because you don't.
I've had that happen before.
Huh? Oh,
I had a guy do that to me before. Oh, yeah, we got a tractor on the farm. Get out there. It's a wild bull, 100-acre farm, wide open. Got to hunt this thing down because you can't step in the pasture with the whole herd running around that 100 acres. We finally get him shot, and I was like, all right, where's the tractor? Here comes this little maybe 20-horse tractor dueling across the field. Luckily there was 5 of us. So there was 5 guys in a tractor trying to manhandle this bull in the back of a truck. We got it eventually, but I was fucking pissed by the time we left.
Oh, I've left places. I've left customers, or it's like, oh yeah, that's the cow, and it's like it's gonna be like 800 pounds hang weight. It's like, whoo, it's a big cow. All right, oh, let me go grab the tractor. I'm prepping. I'm getting everything ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna attempt this. What are you talking about? Like, I'm gonna hurt myself and probably break your tractor trying to do this. No. And it worked out. They ended up bringing it to me. And I was like, why don't you stay for a little bit and kind of see? Because they had already been kind of like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to see. Like, they were excited when I was there at their house to watch. I'm like, why don't you just watch for a minute? And I lifted that thing all the way up. And I think my bucket has like a 13-foot reach. Like, it's up there. And they looked up, and this thing's head was about maybe that far off the ground. And they go, Oh, I'm like, yeah, can't do that.
It's not obvious at first for those, you know.
Yeah. Because what size is your tractor? You have a nice tractor.
I don't even know. It's 3560. I know it's 35 horsepower, but I know it's the slightly larger frame than the subcompact frame,
Yeah.
which is nice. But I need to do some amendments to that thing too before winter hits. Like you said, put chains on it, put a ballast weight on the back would be nice. Like, because I just end up slipping all over the place, and of course, being on a freaking, a slant. Like,
Oh yeah, your driveway is interesting.
yeah, I try to work everything downhill, obviously, because trying to push heavy things uphill, obviously, is not the most intelligent thing to do.
Was it last year that I backed the livestock trailer all the way down your driveway?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, what was
That
that
sucked.
for though?
That sucked because
That was to get many. Yeah.
I hadn't been to your house yet to pick up. I used his boar to try and breed my gilts originally, and I knew his driveway was tight, and I'm like, I'm not going to drive down in case I have to back all the way back up. So and your driveway is what?
Oh my god, like over an eighth of a mile long. Like, it's
Yeah.
long.
So I backed this dual axle livestock trailer all the way down this driveway in the snow. And then I get down there and it was perfectly plowed out. I could have turned around twice, like to get in. I was like, son of a bitch.
But
It's
if you
still
would have drove in, it wouldn't have been plowed out.
And I had my kids with me. So my 4-year-old is like, what are we doing? Why is this taking so long? Like everything that your dad would say to you when you're learning how to back up a trailer, my 4-year-old is just screaming at me from the back. At one point she goes, do you know what you're doing? And I stopped. I stopped. I was like, I'm not going to drive through that. I'm going to sit in it for a minute and then we're going to get going again.
Yeah. You got into the fence line fine. No problems there. As soon as you got down the driveway, I mean, we got in. I mean, we're other than him not walking in because he wasn't like hungry. I'd already fed him. Yeah. Other than that, other than just him being stubborn asshole, everything worked fine. And even still, it took like 10 minutes. Not even. You just wait for him.
Pigs are the worst things to try to load. I hate loading pigs.
Yeah, that's why I built my pens the way I did, that have like the loading and offloading point where it's a smaller corral, because it's like I wouldn't be able to get pigs out of that 3-acre pasture. There's no way in hell I can get them out of a 12 by 12 box. That's right in front.
You gotta starve them. You starve them.
Yeah, no, and that's it too.
A fucking pig, they'll follow you from here to China, man. I swear to God. But the minute that they're satisfied and not hungry, dude, or they're on to your game, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, no, it's always tough. I always tell customers that too. I'm like, do not feed them for 2 days before. And then I get there and they're not coming up to the food. And I'm like, did you feed them? They're like, yeah, we just fed them like an hour ago. I'm like,
fuckers.
All right, cool. Now I'm going to have to chase your pig around to try and shoot it instead of just being like, hey, how are you? Bang.
Yeah. Dude, anytime you work with those sons of bitches, you should not feed them at least a day. Dude, they're fine. They're fucking pigs. They'll be fine. They're fine.
The smartest thing that I see, a guy wanted to borrow my boar just a couple months ago, and he shows up with like one of those Tractor Supply flat mesh trailers, and he's got like a 6x8 dog kennel on the back wrapped in cattle panels, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. But we unratchet strapped that thing, set it on the ground. I threw some feed in there. The boar walked in. We picked it up, walked him right on the trailer, and gone. Easiest pig I've ever loaded. I was like, that is actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
When he showed up, I'm like, this is going to be a nightmare. He's going to run right through that thing. We're going to like wheelbarrow him with a bucket over his head in there or something. And at first, we tried getting him to walk up. As soon as he touched that mesh, he didn't want to walk up there. I was like, well, let's set it down on the ground, walk right in. He had his sons with him, so each got a corner, picked it up, kind of just used the cage to push him up on the trailer, and away they went. That's how they brought him back. So it worked. I was honestly surprised. But the 2 sows I bought for my boss, we were moving his piglets out to the pasture, and then I was supposed to bring them. They would not get in that trailer for life. He fought, and I got there, and he's like, I give up. We're putting him back in the stall. Get him another day. Me and the other guy that worked with us. I pulled the trailer around the back, we took some gates, made a funnel. I hooked it to the tractor so I could tilt the trailer up a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some feed in there. The sows came out, walked right on, closed the trailer up, and
away you go.
Yep. Didn't even try to get out of there. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Hopefully I never have to move them again.
I just started like kind of subconsciously training my boar, like just giving him extra attention, which has been working. It's been working great. He's the one pig that will come out of it. Shut up, Brian. Shut up. But no, like if I'm feeding, he'll follow me wherever I'm going. If I'm in the spot somewhere, he'll come up and make sure what's going on. But I've been pocketing marshmallows, and every time he comes over, I'll just give him marshmallow. And it's like, it's the jumbo ones, and he's still a piglet, so he just runs away with this giant marshmallow in his mouth. Where the brothers
Is that one of those new terms the kids are using? Pocketing marshmallows.
I make it too easy. But no, I was like, I want another boar like Senor was, and I didn't train him. And well, Carlisle brought him up here, so he did most of the training in the beginning.
He was inherently a good boy.
He was, yeah.
He had everything he needed to be a good boy already inside of him.
Yeah. But he was such a sweet pig, and I'm like, I want to kind of nurture that, and because this boar is definitely going to be bigger than Senor was, because he's built like a Hereford. So I want to make sure that he is. Yeah, I want to make sure he is very like user friendly, and I don't have to worry about him much.
That's why I picked up the boar that I have. I went and looked at him, and he was nice. I wanted something that was a little bit more commercial. I was looking for Duroc or Berkshire, and he's a cross of the two. And I went there, and the guy I was talking to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, she feeds him horse treats. She had him up like sitting like a dog and everything." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm taking him." And he's been awesome. Like he's not pushy around feed. He doesn't he doesn't get all uppity or nothing. So.
Mm. Oh, Brian. For the audio listeners, working that boar in a pocket marshmallow. I want to try that in 10. Yeah. We're going to have fun here. We have a fun time here on the show.
Do they do like marshmallows? That's a fact, though.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't really? But yeah,
watermelon makes them go crazy too. I feel like
watermelon and pumpkin.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I've got a ton of volunteer pumpkins coming up from what I fed the pigs last year.
Tomatoes. I had so many tomatoes.
Yeah, I was looking today, and we've got a bunch of those too.
Yeah, because my main paddock you can split into 2 sections, and I had her just in the front one towards the end of her pregnancy, so I didn't have to worry about her. And all of a sudden, I'm like walking out back, and I'm like, "There's tomatoes everywhere." Like there were probably a good 50 plants like in that area. I was like, Jesus. But once we castrated, we put her back there and just left it open for them to go through, and they're gone. Just destroyed them.
Or are they all? I figure they wouldn't last long.
No.
Did you know you're not supposed to give chickens green tomatoes?
No.
I found this out that after I gave like 40 chickens a 5-gallon bucket of green tomatoes every day for like 4 weeks. It was like coming out of our garden at the end of the season. Like it snowed and everything killed. And then the sun came out. So I was just up there. I was like, I'm not throwing this shit away. Like I just shaking the tomato plants into 5-gallon buckets, and I'd throw a bucket in. So we feed them all these. And then like we're doing research in the spring about like what shit and it says, you're not supposed to feed chickens green tomatoes. I was like, well, we must have like mystery chickens or something, because they got more green tomatoes than their body weight after all that time. And none of them died.
What the hell about a green tomato could be so bad for a chicken?
I don't know what it was. It must have been some chemical that was supposed to be in it. I don't know. We had hundreds of tomato plants on our farm and then they all got killed. Like the problem with Minnesota is only 90-day growing season, so like you're pushing the limits sometimes. And we cycled all the plants, so they kept producing. And then the sun or the snow would hit, kill all the plants, well, I don't care if it gets warm again; they're already dead. So we're just like taking all the green tomatoes off, just like literally shaking plants off of tomatoes.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm not gonna throw them away.
Right. No, they go to something good. My aunt lives in like a condo complex, like about 20 minutes from where I grew up. So I was like, I'm home with the kids today. And she goes, hey, have this apple tree in my front yard that the landscapers hate dealing with, and I'm afraid they're going to hit my car. Do you want to come pick a bunch of apples for your pigs? And I was like, yeah. So I went, I got like 5-gallon barrels or 5-gallon buckets of apples. And like, that was just from walking around it. I'm like, I'll be back next weekend with a stepladder. Like,
Dude, there was this really weird there was a really weird phenomenon in my place. There was this huge apple tree in my front yard. They weren't very good for like eating apples. It was like original apple tree from the house, and the neighbor had cut it down when his mom wanted to in the 70s, like cut it straight off to the ground, and the thing came up as more apple trees. This thing would get so loaded that the branches would like hit the ground. And when it would hit the ground, it would drop apples. They'd go back up, and then they would grow more. And it was like, yeah, shitloads of apples. The deer would come up and graze in the yard after dark and shit. But somehow, I don't know if it was the birds or the raccoons or the squirrels, 5-gallon buckets full of these apples would end up down in the field in my food plot. Like, just piles. It looked like somebody had taken a 5-gallon bucket and like dumped it down there or something.
so
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know who was doing it, but man, yeah, it was awesome. And then the apple tree started to sprout up down there because of all like piles of apples.
Almost like someone just grabbed a tractor bucket and just loaded all of the waste apples and relocated them to another area.
We didn't have a tractor. We never bought a tractor on our farm.
I don't know why we're alluding to anything. You don't have a hunting license there anymore, I assume. They're not going to come after you.
I didn't have a hunting license there most of the time when I was there.
All right, so there you go. I know. I think my new
Most
plan.
of the time. Most.
Yeah, most of the time.
Anytime that I actually harvested an animal, I'm sure I had a license.
Sure, positive. You're on your property. It's fine.
Yeah, as long as you can make it disappear fast enough.
Right.
I mean, I didn't ever hunt with a firearm, so there was that.
Well, yeah, that also helps. In New Hampshire, you don't need a license if you're hunting on your own property.
There was questionable things in Minnesota. If you were on your own property, as long as you adhered to the restrictions of the tags, you didn't need to buy one. Like if you had like a $1 limit and you didn't buy a buck tag, but you took $1, but if they could prove that you took 2, you were fucked. But I'm like, how are they going to know? Like literally, they're either going to just screw you and say, oh, we got proof, or they can't prove it. Like,
right.
You took $2. Like we took pictures of you.
Well, here you still have to register it. Like you don't have to buy a license or a tag.
Yeah, maybe that's
you
what it
still
is.
have to go register it, and you can get a landowner tag. Like you don't have to buy anything; it's just marked down as private landowner.
Oh, there was this weird thing that if you wanted a landowner tag in Minnesota, you had to get put on a public hunting list where people could ask for permission to hunt your land. You could tell them no, but you got put on the list, and I was like, that ain't even fucking worth it.
No.
Well, in New York, the only way you get any landowner permits is you have to have 50 acres minimum.
Okay.
Then you can get your doe tags, but you still have to buy your license. Don't matter if you're hunting your own property or what.
Right.
You're not getting out of anything free in New York. That's for sure.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think this is the first year we can register our deer online.
The non-resident licenses in New York were retarded. My parents still live there, and I was going back for a Bills game or something, and I was going to bring my bow and just sit for the week. So I'd be there for a week, and it was like $190 or something for a archery tag.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's a pretty good chance that I'm not even going to see a deer. First of all, I'm hunting archery, like unless my friend puts me on a trail or something that they know is active. And then I got to shoot it with a bow, and I got $190 shot, and I get a week to sit. I mean, okay, I don't have that good of friends.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
just
even-
a regular license. It cost me for my regular buck, my doe tags, bow muzzleloader, and my turkey tags and small game. I think it's like 80 or $90.
Yeah,
never
that's,
get my-
that's about what I'm paying here.
It's not horrible. I don't get my fishing license or nothing because I suck at fishing. I ain't even gonna spend money
Yeah,
on it. I'll go out like I could fish. That's what doesn't make sense. I could fish in my own pond and not have to have a fishing license. You go anywhere else, like you leave and you don't go to like a private owned pond, you go to a lake, you have to have a fishing license, but I suck at it. I never catch anything, so I don't even waste my time. I know it's not gonna be worth my time.
I know I haven't renewed anything this year, and I need to because my daughter's like, "When are we going fishing again?" I'm like, "Ugh, I know it's a fun bonding experience, but I suck." Like,
September 15th, baby.
Like a kid, like you're, like you growing up.
huh? Oh Jesus. Yeah, I don't even think I'm taking the bow out this year. I haven't picked it up since last year. It's been sitting on the barn floor, so I'm sure it needs to be recited. Like, I was
It's the best time to do it, 2 days before season.
I was so bullshit by the end of last season. It never left the barn floor. I was like,
Last
I'm
year was
done.
the first year I finally shot something with my bow, and I've been bow hunting for, I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah, I've never shot anything, so I'm like, just try. I was doing it like I was putting in pretty hot and heavy last year practicing, but I was like, that's an extra tag that I can hopefully fill. Like, perfect. Like, I'll spend as much time out there as I can. And this year, I'm so unmotivated that I'm like, I'm gonna get my hunting license. I'm gonna sit definitely for sure the first 2 days where it's buck doe, like either sex, and then just work and try to get out when I can.
Yeah, I had a good season last year. I got 2 doe with my bow. Went out opening day. Took my wife with me. She says she wasn't sleeping, but she was. Almost led an 8-point walk right by. I shot that, and then I went out Thanksgiving morning and shot 2 more doe back to back. So I was tagged out.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then the year before that, I got my 2 biggest buck. That was the only
nice.
2 I
Yeah.
shot. So that was pretty nice. I got one opening rifle weekend, and then I shot one the first week of muzzleloader.
Was that the little one in your picture that you put up?
The little one. Yeah. Hey, I was proud of it.
I mean,
Fuck yeah.
it's not the size that counts.
Exactly. It tasted good.
Yeah.
She's denying it, just like you said.
But I would say, don't worry, it'll taste good. Don't worry about how big it is.
Yeah, I've sat for the past 4 years. I haven't seen. I have monsters on camera.
You wanted fails. I mean, this is kind of a homesteading fail. It was on my homestead. It was like 20 yards from my barn. I've been having a buck go by on camera same time every day. I had a bear tear apart my hunting blind the season before, and I was like, I'm not buying a fucking another one. So I ordered some cheap like cargo netting like camo netting from Amazon. And I had this place where the buck was coming through. It was down at the bottom of this ridge. And I like look up at the top of the ridge, and it was like probably a 15-foot rise, just like it would have been a tree stand. Like there was a perch overlooking this trail that went down on the bottom of the ridge. And so I took this cargo net and made up a little nest up there. And opening day was like the middle of September. So I'm sitting out there, and every morning, and it was like clockwork. He was just after these does would go through, and then he was following them every day, just after sunrise. I was like, okay, cool. I grab my coffee, I walk out. It was like I said, it was like 20 yards from my barn, maybe 80 yards from the house. And I sit down in my little chair, and it only had it like the blind was facing. It was like a V. I didn't have anything on the back of it because they were down on the bottom of the ridge. And so I hear the does coming. 2 does come by. I'm like, whoop, whoop, perfect. Here they come. Season's going to be over like 5 minutes into the season. This is fucking perfect. And he was big. He was like a nice big wide 12. And I'm like, all right, here he comes. And I hear snap, snap. And I looked over my shoulder and he's to my fucking left. He's like 5 yards on my left. He came behind the fucking blind. He didn't come down the trail. He had gone down like 14 days in a row before that. I had camera pictures of him on that trail. And he's standing beside me and I turned my head and he's looking in my blind at me and I have my bow. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm never going to see him again. Like, he's either going to bust me or I'm going to fucking shoot him, but I'm never going to see him again. And so I drew and I turned and it was just like one of these whoop and
Hail Mary
right over him. And so I'm like, son of a bitch. He takes off down over this fucking hill, gone forever. And my neighbor shot him like 4 weeks later with a crossbow during rifle season. He sends me a picture of him on the road. Douche. I'm like, you son of a bitch, really? He shot him probably 80 yards from where I missed him, but on his side of the road.
Oh, this could be a whole nother podcast, just hunting fails. But
Yeah, got plenty of those.
But we are coming up on an hour. So where can everyone find you boys? Social media wise, YouTube channels, what do we got going on? We'll start with you, Carlisle. I know you've got your Facebook and stuff, right?
Yeah, man, just Armstrong Acres, Facebook and Instagram. Not bad. We haven't gotten to the YouTubes yet. Gotta give me a.
We're gonna get you in there. We're gonna have you join the cult.
I need to.
Brian.
TheLotsProject.com.
Perfect. Is that it? All of it? All right.
You can find everything there.
Everything. He's got a ton of
newly
stuff.
Remodeled and all sorts of stuff getting up. It's not all done yet, but go there and then keep checking out often and check out my podcast. I guess Monday through Friday morning, 6 a.m. Central.
This is a good time to start following you now too, because we're all we're gonna have to adjust to change. If somebody starts now, it's like, oh yeah, this is a cool podcast.
It's gonna be killer on Monday.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited.
It's gonna be new and exciting Monday morning.
Yeah. Joseph, what's going on?
Yeah, you can catch us on Facebook, Blakesley Acres, and YouTube. That's what we got right now going. Emails on there if anybody wanted to contact us, some questions and stuff. I was supposed to have a new Butcher Shop update video out today, but I didn't finish editing it yet. So maybe I might finish it tonight and get it uploaded. So walls are 3/4 of the way stood up. Amish are coming next week to start finishing that. I got all the septic stuff ordered. I've got the well stuff ordered. So should start coming together.
No, that's going to be friggin' awesome. I can't wait to see that. Everybody should definitely go check out Joe's channel. He's got a ton of stuff with farming and butchering. It's pretty freaking sweet. So
I actually got a lamb processing video. I just like a homestead version.
oh,
Threw it
nice.
together real quick. I did some lambs last weekend. I got to finish editing that out too. So hopefully have that one out this week.
Hell yeah. And well, if you're already watching this, please subscribe to the channel. Obviously, we're here at Backwoods Butcher Backwoods Butcher 603. That is YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and yeah, you can listen to this podcast again. YouTube, anywhere you can basically listen to podcasts, including Fountain. So, with that being said, I appreciate you boys coming on, and hopefully we do something like this again. And again, I hope everyone got a chance to meet the critters on this one. It was a fun one. All right. Bye, everybody.